pretty good here. We're getting somewhere.
That's a trash can. So today we're gonna highlight 8 ways to save money on your next grocery shopping trip.
But wait, Dennis, did I tell you that I actually have a 9th tip? And if you stick around to the end, I would love to share this tip with you. This is a tip that doesn't quite often get talked about, and I believe it's gonna save you a lot of money on your grocery shopping.
Hello, fellow wealth builders, and welcome back to the TruFinancials channel. As we just mentioned, we're gonna be talking about 9 tips when it comes to saving money at the grocery store. So make sure you stick around for that 9th bonus tip. Today, I actually have my sister Christina here with me.
Hi.
But if you are new to this channel, my name is Dennis, and on this show, we love to talk about personal finance to really help you build your wealth and become more financially free. And I wanna take you on this journey of financial independence, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to get notifications when new videos come up. All right, so Christina, before we get into these 9 tips, or 8 plus 1 as you mentioned, what does your family consist of? Is it just you?
Well, it's me and my husband, and we have 3 little kids, ages 2, 4, and 6.
Okay, so you got like the right there in the middle
Yes.
of like, childhood ages.
Yes.
So you definitely have obviously kids to be fed. I personally have just my wife and I, as you know. And so there's obviously different dynamics when it comes to saving money for groceries. And so, I think it'd be really interesting to hear from like your perspective of how, a family of 5, can save money on groceries.
So my first tip is to actually have a plan.
So what do you mean by plan?
So taking time and writing down a list of what you're going to buy, not just going to the store and, going through the aisles and just, oh, that looks good, this looks good, and just overspending.
So for plan, are you talking about actually having a list of all the groceries that you need, or plans as in like meals?
It can be both. So I am more of a meal planner. I have a bigger family to feed, and I find it easier to sit down for 10-15 minutes, which is not a lot of time when you look at it in the end, as how much you can save. I find it better to be able just to sit down for 10-15 minutes a week and make a game plan of what we're gonna have for dinner and base my meals off that.
That sounds really good. I know a lot of times people will sit there and think that, well, planning for meals and all that might seem like a waste of time, but from what you were talking about is that, a 15-minute plan can save you hours down the road. And I think if we kind of take that into effect of everything else that we do in our lives when it comes to planning for a trip, when it comes to planning for, anything in our lives, whether it's for work or personal, we seem to be more effective when we actually take a little bit of time behind the scenes before we actually take action on whatever we're doing. So same rule apply?
Absolutely. So tip number 2 is shop around your meals.
Like, are you talking about like walk around the meals that I want at the grocery store?
Oh, no. In a sense of, I find myself in the past when I wouldn't shop around my meals, I tend to buy a lot of snacks and foods that are not fillers. And now I'm at that place where, again, I'm planning what I'm gonna have. So at least 3-4 meals a week I have planned out. Okay, and so I'm getting my staple foods. I'm getting my chicken in bulk, I'm buying rice, and my veggies.
So what you're kind of saying is like making sure that you first and foremost get the things that you actually need before getting all the little pieces, because then those things kind of just add up, because then you're not feeling like you have meals in that cart, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So making sure that you shop around the meals that you need first and foremost, because I think that, yeah, like you're saying, is you're planning ahead and not going through the grocery store, grabbing all the little things first without realizing, oh, I have no meals in the cart, and then you start adding the things that you actually need.
So tip number 3 would be shopping strategically. Having an idea of how often you're going to be shopping. For our family, it works best to do a 1 monthly staple shopping, which means at the beginning of the month I usually end up buying a lot more food, spending a little bit more money, but getting those staple foods like the chicken in bulk and freezing them, the rice, canned foods, things that can last longer than a week, right? And then doing my weekly shopping for produce. I try to get my produce fresh weekly, find those ones on sale. And so I pretty much go once a month for that big shopping, usually Costco, and then those smaller weekly ones at local grocery stores, wherever I can find the best sales.
So that actually sounds like a really good plan. Strategically going to the grocery store. Vanessa and I actually just do it once a week, usually $60. Some weeks we do spend a little bit more, and then other weeks we cut back. But we don't do it that way. But I think that's really interesting to do a lot of your bulk, especially when it comes to like things like in the pantry or things that you can actually freeze and use for a long time. I know we were talking a little bit off camera about if a grocery store has a huge sale on meat, like a buy one, get two free or something crazy like that, because I know Fry's and Kroger's does that. And so if you buy a lot of that up front, that will save you money in the long run.
It does. And that's exactly why I do that, because I find it at the end of the month when I've spent almost all my money, I have nothing left to make food with, right? And so the struggle is I buy all my stuff in the beginning of the month. By the end of the month, I can't figure out ways to make meals, but if I buy if I buy a lot of meat and I package them up in 8 different Ziploc bags and freeze them, there's 8 meals right there, and it's gonna last me till the end of the month. So number 4 would be shopping in your pantry first, before heading out to the store.
I love this one. So this is actually something I do as well before I go to the grocery store. How do you do it? Like, do you go into your pantry and look at the things that you have left over to decide on what meals to make, or do you just take like notes down?
Well, first, the way this became a tip is I'd be at the store and I'd be like, what was in the fridge again? Or do I have a can of tomato sauce? And so finally I realized, why not start taking a picture of my pantry or of the fridge before I head out to the store? So that way, if I can't remember, I could just look on my phone.
Yeah, I think that's a huge one, because I know a lot of times people will write them down, but actually taking a photo, so that way you can just do it very quickly and then just like head out the door and just like double check everything. I know there's some really cool like high-end refrigerators now that actually take the photo for you.
Yes.
So if you have that luxury, that's awesome. Like, that's super cool. But I think for a majority of us, if you just go in and just take a quick photo of like, the front of the, like inside the fridge or inside the pantry, just to kind of get a really good idea. I think that's an awesome way to, not double up on things that you don't actually need to double up on, and utilize the things that you actually already have. So before we continue on with these awesome tips, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below with any additional tips that you might have that can help other people save money when it comes to grocery shopping. I really love hearing from you in the community and sharing your insight as well.
Me too. I'm gonna be looking for those comments. Tip number 5 would be avoid convenience when possible.
Now, are you talking about like convenience stores? Because I know they sell groceries sometimes.
Not exactly, Dennis. I'm talking about those easy, pre-packaged, already rinsed grapes that you could just grab on the go. Those ones.
What about like the pre-packaged meals that you like just put on the stove and then just kind of have it ready to go?
I believe those are okay.
Okay, so you're talking more about like the pre-cut watermelons, or the
pre-made salads that have the egg already in there that cost $4 when you could have just made it for $1 at home.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about, so you're talking about the ones where like the grocery store kind of does half the work for you. I think that's a big one too, because I've actually talked about it before as well, where it's like, the time that you save might be a little bit, but the amount of money that you're spending, if you have the extra money to do so, by all means. But I think for a majority of us, when we're trying to save money here and there, I think that's a big one to look at, is not buying a pre-made, or pre-cut up pineapple. Instead, learning how to best cut up a pineapple in a great way. Because that's one thing I did, was learn how to cut up pineapple, and I can do it in a much quicker fashion nowadays. Exactly,
and just taking that 10, 15, 20 minutes a week to sit down and grab all your fruits, clean them up, prep those veggies, whatever you gotta do, in 10, 15 minutes of your week, you can set up those prepackaged meals at home.
For a much cheaper price.
Very much cheaper price. So tip number 6 would be check your unit price.
Yeah, this is honestly a big one. So if you ever have seen my previous video where I talk about this, where I go through like an actual grocery shopping haul, I actually mentioned this as a big, huge tip. I'll actually leave that video right up here for you to be able to check out. And that video, same thing. We talk about going in and actually looking at prices per ounce. Now, I know sometimes some people might find it silly or weird, but you can really be surprised on how much you can save. Now, one thing that Christina and I were actually talking about before we started recording was how we started noticing that a lot of companies were starting to make the smaller boxes more efficient than the bigger boxes, because I think it's gotten into our heads that, the bigger the box is, the more you're gonna save.
And that's not always necessarily true. So do your research. Take time to start looking, especially those staple foods that you're always buying.
Yeah, like we were talking about with the prices, a lot of the different stores will actually have it on the actual tag itself how much per ounce that you're getting, or it's going to cost you. So a lot of times you don't even have to do any math with it. It's just going to be right there. You can see it's going to say like 29 cents an ounce versus, 26 cents an ounce. And even though it might not seem like a lot in the small scheme of things, in the grand scheme, it's going to keep saving you more and more every single time, because you're going to the grocery store every single week or every single month, so it's something that we always need. So if you can cut off a little bit of money on every purchase, it's really going to help, give back more for yourself.
So tip number 7 would be know your grocery stores.
For me personally, I know that I typically shop at one major grocery store, which if you watch my videos, it's Winco. I definitely go there, and then sometimes Costco. But what do you mean by know your grocery store? Because I definitely know my grocery store and I know all the aisles, but like what are you entailing?
So find out what your local grocery store offers. Do they have double ad days? Is there a special spot for those clearance items, usually hidden in the back by the end caps? And example is there's a Sprouts near my house that offer 5 cents off per reusable bag you bring in. And I'm shopping at Sprouts every week using at least 3 or 4 bags, and that's 20 cents extra money that I get to keep.
Okay, so you're talking about like really knowing your grocery store, not just the fact that there's like a Kroger's or a Safeway or an Aldi's or whatever around the corner. It's actually knowing some of the like special benefits that these different companies offer. So if it's like discounts on bringing in your own bags, or certain places might have the double ads like you're talking about. I think that can be a really great tip to actually, learn a little bit more about the grocery store that you typically shop at.
And if you don't know, ask. Find the manager, look for the produce manager, and find out where are those hidden deals. They're everywhere. Just another example is Target. I love going to Target because usually they have in-store coupons, they have manufacturer coupons you can use, and they have those end caps that are usually hidden in the back of the store that have all those clearance items too that you can double on with your coupons. And again, just doing your research, finding out where those hidden sales, clearance items, manager specials are, and take advantage of them. So tip number 8, which happens to be one of my personal favorite, is always pack a snack in your car for you, or it could be for your kids. And this is gonna help avoid those temptations of just grabbing a snack at the grocery store or getting really hungry after shopping for an hour and just wanting to go through that fast food line and spending 10 bucks when you could be saving it.
Yeah, so I mean, from what you're saying is like just obviously one day when you're at the grocery store buying snacks and then having them in Ziplocs and just like leaving them in the car for your kids or even for yourself. Nothing wrong with snacks for yourself. Yeah, and I think that can go a long way, because as most of us already know, going to the grocery store hungry, you tend to buy more things. Like it's just, like we all know that, but obviously having a snack ready is a huge deal. And especially if you have kids, that can go an even longer way.
And Dennis, I'll tell you this, I have like granola bars in my trunk. I have Ziploc bags of nuts. You have to. I mean, we live in Arizona, so you can't leave those. You can't do chocolate.
Chocolate,
sure. No way.
Do chocolate here
but
in Arizona.
Nuts fill you up, and they're healthy. All right, so if you stuck around, here is that 9th bonus tip, which I think is going to be super helpful. And this would be always check your receipts after you're done shopping.
Now, so here's the funny thing about this one, and I think it's crucial, because actually checking your receipts to make sure that the prices came out right and making sure that you didn't get overcharged or whatever the case may be. You can definitely do that beforehand when it's getting rung up, if possible. Obviously, when Christina and I were talking about some of this stuff, she was saying, hey, I got kids. I had to do it outside of, the actual ringing up, but it can really save a lot of money. And we actually learned this from our mom, where I can always recall us leaving the grocery store and my mom is just like face planted into that receipt, double checking to make sure every single item got rung up correctly, because I mean, it's your money. You want to make sure that you get the most out of it. And nothing against the person ringing your stuff up, but those machines can sometimes get things wrong.
And you'd be surprised how many people don't check their receipts. Have you been checking your receipts?
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you check your receipts as well, because like we mentioned, this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but I think it's really crucial. I know me personally, like I mentioned, I actually check as they're ringing everything through, and when something doesn't come up correctly, I do let them know. Sometimes it's a quick fix, sometimes they do have to double check the prices, but usually it gets resolved right then and there. So have you ever been charged extra for things?
Yes, I have. And usually it happens on those produce items. It can just be the wrong produce, and so they're charging you the wrong per pound.
And that can be a huge difference, especially if they accidentally put in like something that
asparagus versus maybe like cucumbers or whatever the case may be, because you know, a lot of times I see them like punching those numbers really quickly. And let us know in the comments below if you check your receipts after every purchase.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know how many other people utilize this tip. As we mentioned, I don't hear a lot about it from other people, so I think it can be really beneficial for anybody, whether you check your receipt after the transaction's done or while they're actually scanning all the items in. All right, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button.
And don't forget to share this video with anyone you think will benefit from all this information.
And then if you want to continue watching some more content on this channel, here are some additional videos for you to continue watching.